Panther, what it do, what it do, what it do. This is gonna be the first full episode we've done in a while. Yeah. First full episode that we've done in a while. Right now I'm picking up my kids. You know, daddy duty never stops, and I love being a dad. So yeah, I'm picking them up. Going to talk a little bit about the week that has been free agent frenzy. It's been a very, very very busy week rather, in the NFL. So last night I had the honor and the privilege to check out one of my favorite Panther podcast presentations, PNP. Shout out to Rashad and Dave. Yep. Yeah, so they had their NFC South roundtable last night. Give me 1 second.
I forgot to.
What's up, people? I'm back. I got my kids in the car. My little Panthers up in here. What's good? Yeah, a lot of the video stuff that I do, a lot of times, outside of Panther stuff, they are my PAs. So my son, my oldest, is holding the camera right about now. But we're gonna get into this real quick. What I want to do is I want to get into some things that have already been done as per the week that has been known as the free agency frenzy, as they're calling it now. Very good for marketing, and it has been a frenzy. I don't know about you guys. Is there anybody else tired of Aaron Rodgers? I'm tired of Aaron Rodgers. It's like every free agency signing, it's between him and Brady. They just absorb it, and they just consume it, and they just hog the cycle. Like, I'm just trying to figure this out. I just don't understand why I'll just spice it together. But yeah, if I'm the Jets, I'm saying to myself, do I really want a quarterback that goes back and forth this much on whether he's going to retire or not? He did the same crap last year. Waited till dang near the season started and still couldn't get us into the playoffs. And so I'm like, if you're really trying, a team that's really trying to turn things around, why would you even want to contend with that? But hey, that's their problem, not ours. I'm just saying, I'm tired of them sucking up. Because, yesterday, oh my God, they were waiting for a decision, and they stayed on this for like a straight hour, dude. Like, I just turned my TV off, seriously. But anyway, that's not us. We are the Panthers, and we got some stuff going on that's just insane, that's just crazy, and I'm loving it. Straight up loving it. Get in the place, man. I really feel like your man Scotty too Hotty, man. Like, he has just been jumping off the top rope and crushing it. There are some signings that I find kind of questionable. I just some things I don't get, but let's talk it out. We'll see where we agree and disagree. Things of that nature. Maybe some of y'all can maybe bring the light on what I don't understand, what I'm missing. But anyway, first of all, so I was enjoying one of my favorite podcasts last night. PNP. Shout out to Dave and Rashad, or Rashad and Dave, however you want to say that. My fellow Aggies, Panther brethren, Sigma uncles. But yeah, man. So anyway, and they were doing the NFC South Roundtable, and there was a bunch of capping going on. Of course, not from Dave and Rashad. Of course not. But from a lot of the chat from the other, NFC South rivals and opponents. And they were like, Andy Dalton's going to be our starting quarterback. It's like, wait a minute, man. Pump your brakes. Do you not know who our head coach is? Do you not know who our head coach is? Did you just see what we did? We traded up to one, and we traded away in the addition to picks our number one receiver. We're not going to do all of that just so Andy Dalton can start. No, we're trying to get our guy, and that guy is going to see some field time this year. Whether it's game 1, whether it's game 2, whether it's game 3. Period, point blank. So yeah, I mean, some people just like to live LIL. Live in lunacy. Oh man, let me open this door. Give me a second, people. But yeah, so there was a lot of people that were just talking reckless, man, reckless. But let's get into it. So, it's gonna be a mixed bag on this one. It's gonna be a lot of back and forth. So I hope y'all can keep up. Yeah. So yeah, we got the first pick. Now, leave it in the comments. Who do you guys think the first pick? No, okay, let's do it like this. Leave it in the comments who you want it to be / who you think it's going to be. Who you want it to be / who you think it's going to be. I would be totally fine with a AR-15. I don't want Bryce Young. The reason why I don't want Bryce Young is because that particular style of quarterback has not been proven past Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. And so if you compare, contrast the two, the more successful right now being Mahomes, you really have to conclude that for that type of quarterback to work and to be successful, that team has to have the total package. That team has to have the head coach, the coordination, the offense, the defense. It's got to be, and wherever every team is deficient somewhere, wherever they are deficient, it's got to be some ballers as well. It's like that saying, you're only strong as your weakest link. So wherever that team is deficient, they got to show up. For instance, Kansas City Chiefs, offense being light them up, defense not so much. Everybody thought that the Eagles were a shoo-in to beat them because they had the total package on offense and defense. Kansas City ended up beating them because of two things: who they are on offense, and Jalen Hurts screwing the pooch. I mean, that's just, pretty much what it is. And I know there are some people that may not want me to speak about Jalen Hurts like that, but I'm like, yo, player, you lost the game. I mean, there's no answer. It is what it is. He recovered from his mistake, but at the end of the game, when you look and you know that they scored off of your fumble and they didn't even beat you by 7 points, you know you lost that game. So I'm trying to figure out how in the world everybody's saying that he had a better game than Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes didn't fumble the ball. Don't think he turned it over. All right. So I don't understand the reason behind that. But anyway, like I said, so if you got a Patrick Mahomes type of a QB, I would think, and this is just what the modeling from Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson tells me, that you have to have the full package. You got to have the full package. You can't have anything slacking. You can't have anything lacking. And even where you are deficient, they got to show something. So we turn the page from that to a Russell Wilson. We've seen Russell Wilson in the better days of Seattle. They had the Legion of Boom defense. Almost unstoppable. They were a shoe-in for the playoffs from year to year. And then, as that particular offense got less and less efficient and proficient, rather, you saw Russell's numbers decline. Broncos bring him in thinking that he is the missing piece that they need, and he is not, because they aren't built for him. And that's one reason why I think I think our quarterback would have success, especially on our offense, because our offense has been built up to a point now that quarterback should have some type of success. But my whole thing is this, and reason why I shy away from a Bryce Young type of quarterback, that shorter type of quarterback, is because over time you don't know how your line gonna change. You don't know who's gonna, have injuries, things of that nature. Now, we may be decent if you're steadily retooling your line. You know what I'm saying? But we know that you can't always do that, because you got to spend money in other areas as well. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm against the Bryce Young mold. I wanted AR-15. I wanted AR-15 until we got Andy Dalton. And the reason why I say that is, again, if we pick an AR-15 at 1, then that means they're planning to sit AR-15 for a while behind Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton ain't done too much for me. I'm sorry. He's sufficient, but is he Tom Brady? No. Is he Aaron Rodgers? No. Is he Derek Carr? He's just, for me, he's just serviceable. Just serviceable. I feel like if that was their plan, they could have just kept PJ Walker. You know what I mean? And if you guys didn't know, PJ is no longer with us. He's a Bear. We'll discuss that in a few. So yeah, I was fine with the AR-15 until they got Andy Dalton. Now I'm like, nah. So now I'm on the Stroud bus. I'm on the Stroud bus now. Because since that move, you know, like for them to get an AR-15, I would want them to get a Brissett or a Geno or, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo. They made no attempts for either one of these guys. I think Derek Carr was in the building. I definitely didn't want Derek Carr. I just didn't. His brother talked too much shit about us. So, nah. Just because you was here and couldn't cut it. I think he was one of our quarterbacks that couldn't cut it. I did a video back in the day about that. But yeah. But anyway, so moving right along. Yeah, I just don't see. Nah, I'm not an AR-15 fan for us right now that we have, you know, Andy Dalton. If they get another quarterback that's a little more proficient, okay. But right about now, I'm on the Stroud bus, man. I have to say. So, who do I think that they're going to get? I want Stroud, and I think they're going to get Stroud. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think this. So, our QB coach, McCowan, has been doing videos with, you know, Underdog Fantasy, which they are not a sponsor of the channel. I welcome them if, you know, that comes about. I definitely welcome that interaction. But yeah, right, as of now, they're not a sponsor. But yeah, they have these amazing vids. And Coach McCown is just breaking stuff down, man. You know. And so they did a video dedicated to Stroud. And they did one dedicated to, what's his name? Bryce Young. And Coach's vocal inflections when talking about Stroud, oh my God, if I just had a vocal meter to, you know, to just show you his vocal inflections when he talked about Stroud, even comparing him to Joe Burrow. That's a tea leaf for you. I'll come back to that in a minute. It's a tea leaf for you. Okay, so the other video when he talked about Bryce Young, very flat. You know, he didn't, you know, he wasn't really speaking negatively about him, but he was just very flat toned. Like he just wasn't. You didn't get the same amount of excitement. So you got to dig. You know, for me myself, I dig deeper in that, right? And I say to myself, okay, at what point in time were these videos taken? Was Coach McCowan even our quarterback's coach at that time? Yes, he was. So on that note, you could be saying, you know, he could have been gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? You know, you make yourself seem like you're more excited about Stroud because you're fine with taking a Bryce Young. So if anybody else takes Stroud, you know, off the board and Young falls to you, you got, you know what I'm saying, you got what you want. Could have been gaslighting, but another time nugget for you. That was before we had the number one pick. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, like, why would Coach McCowan do this? Why would he go on, you know, and show his face like that? Like usually teams, you know, try to keep their wants kind of tight, close to vest. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, his voice is telling us everything of who he wants. But I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. So when I dug deeper, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So maybe he was gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? So just in case a young falls to us, we're good. Maybe that's the key. But now that we have that number one pick, I go back to that same vocal inflection that he was using on Stroud, and I have to say, when you have the number one pick, you really don't have to keep nothing tight in the vest. Because ain't nobody picking before you. You know what I'm saying? All the thing you have to do is just be careful that you don't let it slip. And then somebody comes with the perfect trade back offer. That would mess you up. And you better not, if you trade back, you best not trade back too far and put the wrong teams ahead of you. Or else you could be in some muck and miry clay. But yeah, I really feel like from those videos, I really feel like that we're getting Stroud. You know what I mean? He's our quarterback coach. And when he's that excited about working with that dude, and now that we have that number one pick, that tells me exactly who we're getting. Not to mention the reference that he made between Stroud and Joe Burrow. And one of the first signings this week was what's his name? Hayden Hurst. Joe Burrow's tight end. Wait a minute. You just said Stroud is like Joe Burrow. And before Stroud gets into the building, you snag a Joe Burrow tight end. I think there's some there. I could be wrong. All this is speculation. You know, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't live in Charlotte. Nobody's calling me every 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Keeping me in the loop. I'm on NFL Network like, you know, the most of you are. So this is clearly speculation. But I think I'm right. Because even if I'm wrong, I could be right. So that's what I think I'm right. But anyway, I think that's who we're getting. And, you know, like I said, the videos and the Hayden Hurst signing, that tells me everything. What threw me for a loop is the what's the guy name? Miles Sanders. That signing threw me for a loop. Because I'm like, why we need him for? And we got Chuba Hubbard. Because from what I saw from him in his highlights, he does not do what Deontay Foreman does. You know, he's not that Juggernaut style back. So I don't know, maybe they're signing him for insurance just in case Deontay doesn't sign. And, you know, I don't know, maybe you want 3 in that room anyway, you know, instead of just 2. I do have to say this. If they're going to keep Foreman Sanders and Hubbard. What's up, people? Slight interjection. Yeah, so yesterday, after I did this original filming, I guess between the hours of 4 and 6, Deontay Foreman signed with the Panthers. So he's gone. I don't know what the Bears are doing. Did they, there was a question of whether they fleeced us or not. I can't say they fleeced us, but they're definitely performing some legal theftery after the fact. Like, wow, like, got DJ, PJ, and Dante. Me and my brother-in-law gonna have to talk about this because he's a diehard Bears fan, so we're gonna have to talk about this. But yeah, Foreman is no longer a Panther. So that's that. That means we're probably gonna say goodbye to Blackshear. Or we could be saying goodbye to Hubbard. And the reason why I say that is this. Excuse me, I got a little cold. You cannot marry or pigeonhole a brand new spanking new coach to any previous player that has not earned let's see how I can say this. Oh, okay. You cannot marry or pigeonhole a new head coach to any player that has not earned the level of C on their chest with them stars across. Let me be clear. We did this one time before. COVID came in here and kicked out a whole MVP quarterback. And he had never called him to play in this league before. Like, the audacity. When you have players that got C's on their chest and stars, you should have no say-so. Especially when you just a brand spanking new coach. Now, let's just say in that predicament, if it was somebody that actually had some NFL experience and wanted to move on, it would still hurt, but at that point in time, you depend on that man's experience, and you I guess you try to ride with him to see what happens. I was against that crap because this dude didn't have no NFL head coaching experience. Had only assistant coached in this league for a year at that. And you're going to tell me that Teddy Bridgewater is better than a Cam Newton? Get out of here, man. I'm so glad that dude is going. I can't even say his name. I call him COVID because they came in together and looked like they dissipated together. Seriously, but anyway. So yeah, like I said, you can't really marry or pigeonhole Frank to really any player that's here that doesn't have a C on their chest. And especially on the offense. Like, who really has that C on their chest on the offense now? McCaffrey's gone. Darnold's gone. You know, but especially in the running back room, you know what I'm saying? Nobody had gotten to that level past McCaffrey. So in that regard, yeah, man, you know, like I said, you can't really pigeonhole him to any of these players, you know. So if Chuba is out the door or if Blackshear is out the door, you know, I mean, and it's really going to be a battle this preseason for those running back positions. So Blackshear and Hubbard, I hope you're ready because I feel like the depth chart is really going to come down to if we hopefully we re-sign Foreman. The depth chart is going to come down to Foreman at 1, Sanders 2, and either Blackshear or Hubbard at 3. That's the way I'm reading it, especially with running back coach Deuce Staley in the building. So yeah, do I want to talk to y'all about anything else? Oh, yes, wide receiver. We had a conversation with Adam Thielen. There was no signing done. Tomorrow, we chalking it up. That's right. Detroit Lions DJ Chark will be in the building on 800 South Mint Street in for a meeting, and I hope that we get a signing. If we don't get a signing, and I checked out his highlights and stuff, and I'm like, you know, he's really good at getting the contested balls, pause. And, you know, because Shad, I know if you all watch Shad, so pause. But he's good at getting the contested balls. He jumps up for it real good. You know, he'll go up for it. So I really hope that we get that signing done. If we don't get him, it's more than worth it to get an OBJ. Now, I know what you're going to say. Same thing I heard from this Panther Facebook group. I don't like his attitude. He a diva. He a locker room counselor. I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Get out y'all feelings. Because it was even brought back, I still ain't cool with that whole OBJ and Josh Norman thing. Man, get out of here. That's just how stuff go down on the field, man. Come on. Get out of here with that. These folks act like they in the locker room with him. They got to be with him every day. That they got to practice with him. And that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and let me just go ahead and kill that whole little diva conversation real quick. Because you tried that same bullshit with Cam. Yes, you did. These players go out on that field every day and they get paid 17 weeks a year. That doesn't include OTAs. That doesn't include minicamp. That doesn't include training camp. That doesn't even include preseason games. You get paid a lot more frequently than they do. They just happen to get a lot more than you get a year. Now, when you go to work and deal with whatever you got to deal with, you don't just up and quit, because you be quitting every day. Because I'm sure there's some things on your job that's just a constant that you cannot stand. But you stay there. And you've been there for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, dealing with the same old bull job that you know you can't stand. All for you to get that same check that you've been getting for them past 20 years. So that you can take that check and cash it and get the things that you need. And if you get a little bit left over, to get the things that you want. These NFL players, they do the same thing. They use the money to get what they need. And sometimes, yes, it's a little flashy. It's a little extravagant. But guess what? It's their money. It ain't yours. It's their money. That ain't your money. Let them do what they want to do with their money like you do what you want to do with yours. I remember seeing that picture of OBJ with the yacht and all these successful black men from athletics and in music all together. And I'm thinking two things. One of these days, I would love to have a yacht. Second thing I was thinking, I used to have a stomach like that. And then I bow my head in tears because my stomach is no longer like that. So yeah. But y'all did the same shit with Cam. He need to focus on football and not wearing all these crazy clothes. What? What? He need to focus on football and not wearing. You ever had a pay raise? If you ever had a pay raise and you're getting a little bit more money than you're used to getting, you go buy some stuff that you normally wouldn't buy. And if you really got a significant pay raise, you just might start stunting to a point. That's what Cam was doing. He was stunting. No, everything that he was wearing wasn't the best thing. But again, that's his money. That was his money. And y'all simply talking about he need to focus on the game and that's all this fat. No, that's the problem. That's the problem. Y'all need to focus on the game and not what he wearing. That's the problem. What is that? What is he doing with his hair? Let me tell you where Cam is from. Cam is from Atlanta, Georgia.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
I said Atlanta, not Alexis. Anyway, not to mention, they got the airport. Not to mention, they got all of the other tourism stuff. MLK Christian Leadership Center. All of these other things. The music industry. Now that is the hub of the black music industry. It's in Atlanta. And the way they got there was through about maybe two individuals. Ambassador Andrew Young and Mayor Maynard Jackson. And they held corporations like Coca-Cola and the airports and all these other folks to the fire and really made that city an economic mecca. You know what I mean? And so then you have a Cam Newton coming from ATL, goes to school in Florida, goes to school in Texas, then goes to school in Alabama, and then, of course, gets signed in Charlotte. That's like 4 different cultures. 4 different cultures. But before he gets to Charlotte, he's been a part of 3 different cultures where the vibes are totally different. So you may see him one day, he may look like he's from Florida. You may see him another day, he may look like he's from ATL. You might see him another day, he might look like he's from Texas. Because those are the cultures that were imprinted on him. Well, newsflash for you goofy ones out there. You don't like dreads. You don't like afros. CJ Stroud got braids. Bryce Young, he got a kind of blowout going on. AR-15, he got braids. Welcome to the new NFL quarterback, people. And guess what? As they get money, you can best believe they gon' stunt. They gon' stunt. They gon' wear some stuff that you don't approve of. What you need to do, and what they definitely want you to do, get your hand out their pockets. Because they go on the field to make that money, just like you go wherever to do your job. Now, if they just truly sucking, okay. But even if they sucking, keep it a buck, keep it 100. Don't be doing a whole bunch of character attacks and personality attacks. And that ain't helping nobody. Anyway, I digress. Because there's many of you people out there, goofs, that would call OBJ a diva and all this other stuff. You be smiling in his face and trying to shake his hand if he score the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl for us. Yeah. Y'all days. Uh-huh. And I meant goofs in the most respectful way. I really did. Like, for real. Like, I have an issue with a lot of these Panther fans, man. Like, for real, for real. Because a lot of y'all harp on the wrong stuff. A lot of y'all concentrate on the wrong stuff. A lot of y'all was down for the whole COVID experiment and didn't want it to end. And was mad and upset when it finally ended. And then again, I'm not talking about COVID the pandemic. No, I'm talking about COVID the coach. As I said before, I don't refer to him by his name. I call him COVID because that's when he came upon us. Same time COVID hit, and it looked like they started to dissipate at the same time. That's the only way I dare not say his name. Dare not say his name. And I'm like, y'all, some of y'all, I don't care what y'all think. No way. If you was riding with him, I definitely didn't care what y'all was thinking with this whole coaching search. Hell no. You riding for that dude? Let me tell you something. I don't care. Look, when we were doing that coaching search, I didn't want to hear from nobody that was down with this whole COVID experiment, this COVID college experiment. I didn't want to hear from nobody that was down with that. Especially 10 toes down to the end and wanted more. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Your coach picking your coach picking is totally flawed to me. I'm not even sure if I would let you tie the shoe of a shoestring box. You know how they teach kids to tie shoes with that little box and they had a little lace holes in it? I don't even trust you to do that.
Is he safe with that razor? I mean,
yeah, we take the blade out.
Nope. Not if you down for that mess. No. That's all right. That's all right. As far as I'm concerned, y'all could have went to Nebraska with it. For real. But I declare, man, all y'all calling OBJ Divas talking about he a locker room captain like y'all been in the locker room with him. All because of something you read or something you, man, get out of here with that. Because like I said, y'all be wanting to shake his hand at the hot dang parade. Cut it out. Anyway, man, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'm really pleased with the majority of the signings that we've made. We've bolstered our defense a little bit more. I hate that we didn't get Jalen Ramsey. I mean, JC is my boy, but he cannot. It's looking like we have two corners that can't stay healthy. We already knew we had issues with Dante Jackson. J.C. Horn doesn't make it through his first season, and Hobby, damn it, doesn't make it through the second either. So now he's had an ankle injury on top of an ACL, and I just am not sure about his health and his durability moving forward. But I think a lot of techniques need to be of the old school, the way we used to play football, need to be reinstated. Like for instance, corners and receivers, you need high top cleats. You need high top cleats. You need cleats with ankle support. Your ankle should not have all that freedom to move around outside of that shoe. You need, I'm telling you, look, you may be a low top guy, but just to make sure that you keep getting the money, get you some with some ankle supports, man. Like for real, for real. But anyway, man, this is gonna do it for this episode of the Panthers Den. By the way, I am on medical leave from my current job. Hopefully transitioning to another job. And I'm hoping to do a draft spectacular. A draftacular. A draftacular. And on the night of this particular draftacular, I will be revealing to you the new name of the channel. We're going to be changing from the Panthers Den. And it's going to be something totally new, something totally more wicked, something totally more awesome. Y'all are going to love it. This has been doing a lot of time and research and seeing, what these podcasts are doing, what that podcast is doing, because I don't want to do what everybody else does. I just don't. So I want to bring you guys something special. So yeah, till next time, folks, keep pounding. God bless. Peace.